All right. So, welcome back, guys. And here we have IELTS Speaking, Part 1. And today we're going to talk about borrowing and lending. Borrowing means taking money from someone, and lending, it means giving some money to somebody uh, for the purpose of getting it back after some time. So let's take the questions here. I'm going to read the questions and give specific answers to those questions. In this part here, you usually spend between 20 to 30 seconds to answer each question that you're being given here. But as I said, you're not the timekeeper. You have the timekeeper who is the examiner. So you shouldn't be worrying too much about the timing. The general formula of answering the question is giving your answer, giving explanation, and giving examples whenever necessary. And the kind of examples that you give are usually supposed to be explanatory examples, not just one word. If you can do that, it's even better. Fluency is more important than anything else. Being able to organize your ideas is also important. Your grammar is important. If you can get everything right at a basic level, it's better than trying to use complicated vocabulary and missing basic grammar. So go step by step, improve all those skills one by one, and then you're good to go. But what's more important, sometimes you might not be very good at grammar, you might not be very good at other skills, but the only thing that you can do is working on your confidence. And to work on your confidence, you have to practice with real questions. So listening attentively, get whatever you get, if it's 50%, 60%, 7%, and then listen again, then go back and try to answer these questions by yourself. This is your general formula. Without further ado, let's get started. First question. Do you often lend things to others? Do you often lend things to others? Yes, from time to time, especially money. I don't know if this is happening to everybody, but I think it's not easy to get back your money, especially when you lend them to the people who are not using it for business. You know, in most cases, you should consider it as a little help because expecting them to give it back to you while they think you're someone who can easily give that money to them is the first mistake. This is my personal perspective from my personal experience. In most cases, when you give people money, especially friends and relatives, they usually take it for granted. Then you might ask yourself what kind of friends and relatives you have. I think it's like the same friends and relatives we have as 90% of the world. So I think, I don't know if this is the moral problem, but I think it's one of the problems that people should be talking about more. Have you ever lost something you borrowed? Yes, I have lost. I think I borrowed a ball from my friend. Um, I was traveling for some time, and then when I came back to the city, I didn't have time to go and buy my own ball. So I went to one of my friends, and asked him to give me the ball so that I could play basketball. When I was playing, some other people came. Okay, I know those people, and we started playing together. But when I wanted to leave, I couldn't leave with the ball. I had to ask my friend if I could leave it with the other guys, and they said it's okay. And then later, nobody remembered who took that ball. It took some time for me to get back the ball. It was one of the kids who played last, and he was the one who was shooting around before he left with the ball, but he never came to the court because he had some family emergency. So after tracking him down, I got the ball back and gave it back to the owner of the ball. It didn't take more than 1 week. It was just in 4 or 5 days. Then I was able to return it. So yes, I consider it as something that I had lost myself because I'm the one who borrowed it and I was supposed to be the one who is returning it to the person. Do you prefer borrowing or buying? Well, if it's something that I don't need in the long run, or if it's an emergency, I'll just borrow it before I sit down and try to buy something. When I decide to buy something, I should know that this thing that I'm going to buy is going to be part of my life. And you just don't want to have stuff that you can only use once and then ignore them. So before purchasing anything, then you have to know the impact this thing have in your life. Is it going to improve your life, or is it going to be a load or some kind of like a garbage, something that you won't use, because garbage isn't always about the pricing and how good the thing looks. Sometimes it's about things that you don't need around you. So if you can borrow for some time and then instead of buying it, then you can just go and borrow. So sometimes some people wouldn't prefer, for example, to borrow a suit from their friends. So you could rent it, a suit, go to a rental place and rent it. But also some people don't like something that everyone is wearing. I remember last time I bought a suit. I wore it once and then gifted it to my friend because I wasn't a suit person, and I thought maybe it might take 2 or 3 years before I wear another one. So I thought going around with it everywhere I go, it just be a burden. So I decided to give it to my friend, and because he's a close friend of mine, he didn't have a problem taking it and only had worn it once. What kinds of things do people borrow today? What kinds of things do people borrow today? I think today people borrow money in most cases because money is like a shortcut to do a lot of things. If people don't have food, they could decide what to buy. Instead of giving them food, then you could give them money. If they wanted to buy a car or they wanted to purchase a house, money can easily solve those problems. Nobody goes to somebody and borrow a house. They usually want to borrow money so that they could purchase a house or they could pay their rent. So I think the most common thing to borrow nowadays is money. The second most common, I think, maybe a vehicle. If you have a car, a friend of yours could borrow a car from you and actually somehow, you know, use it and return it to you. Is it easy for you to ask for help? Well, I don't know if it's ego or whatever it is, something that I've been fighting for a very long time, but I'm really hard at asking for help. And I think after some time, it's no longer about the ego or the insecurity. It becomes a habit because if you are afraid of asking for help, you always find a way to solve your problems or to live with your problems. I don't think this is a good way of living because people are supposed to help each other. So if you can ask for help and you genuinely need the help, you shouldn't be the person who is always running for help every time they have a little problem. You have to be someone who really has the problem, and every time you get help, you have to be grateful because some people might not be grateful or forget when they're being helped by somebody. So, in one way or another, I think asking for help is some kind of strength because it takes courage to ask you for help if you're a proud person. But at the same time, there are some people who just would ask for help every time they have a chance to just test somebody, and if it works, that's how they get their way around. So I think it depends on how you look at it, but for me in general, it's not easy to go out and ask for help. Okay, guys, as you have seen these beautiful questions with beautiful answers, it's an amazing topic, very constructive topic. What I usually love to insist is on trying to do it yourself. Okay, do it yourself, DIY. If you do it yourself, you become more confident, you become better. This isn't only for the speaking part, it's about a lot of other things in life. When you go around life just theorizing things, it is different from actually doing something and getting experience. Doing that thing and actually accomplishing it and doing another thing, back to back, there is compounding development which happens, whether it's your character that you are building, maybe if it's a habit that you want to have, then you have to do your best every time, try and fail until you finally make it. I know it's not easy to change something, it's not easy to improve yourself, but that's life. If you don't do it little by little every day, coming here, trying to learn something new, then you'll never be able to improve at anything unless you are one of the luckiest people in the world, and that is less than 0.00001% of humanity. That being said, we're going to finish here. I'm going to share a link below if you want extra information and some practicing material. Just click the link, reach me, and we're going to figure it out. Take care of yourself and see you in our next session.